So the 5 biggest questions that we're going to answer in today's monthly webinar. When are mortgage rates going to come down? Number 2, what will it take to get prices down? Number 3, will I be able to find a home and move in 2025? Number 4, is the housing market going to pick up in 2025? And what does that mean, pick up? Oh, and number 5, is the housing market going to crash? What's up, everybody? My name is Kenny Simpson. If it's your first time here, welcome. If you've been back many, many times, thanks for joining in again for another monthly webinar. Today, we're discussing what's going on in 2025. We're going to dive into all those topics I just went over. As you can see on the screen, this is for November. But remember, we are looking in the rear view mirror of data, what's happened behind us, to get a consensus of what is going on so that we can give you some predictions, some estimates, and what we think might transpire and happen in 2025. As always, topics of today, we go through the market update, and then I'll throw in a hot topic or two, as always, to talk about what's going on out there in the market, maybe some rates, maybe some loan products that are helping clients today. But if you ever have to reach me, here's my information. Call me, text me, email me, come stop by and say hello. But if we've never met, you've never met me, my name is Kenny Simpson. I focus on 1 and 4 unit financing. I'm a mortgage broker by choice. You heard by choice, because after doing this for 20 years, I think mortgage broker is the best spot to be in for myself, more importantly for my clients, from a technology standpoint, from getting stuff done standpoint, to loan product, and at the end of the day, for that amazing pricing we're able to offer to you, the consumer. On top of that, I've helped over 5,000 customers, funded billions of dollars of loans, and I am here today doing this video. So if this is your first time watching me, depending on how you found this video, you should definitely be subscribed to my email list. And also you should be following me on Instagram, social media platforms, if you want up-to-date real-time data of what's going on every day out there in the market, from rates, from inventory to housing, how news affects real estate, all that fun stuff. You should definitely check out my channel. But hey, if you want to talk to me, chat, hit me up. And I appreciate you watching. I appreciate you guys' support, stopping by and checking out what we have on the docket here today for 2025. I'm actually really excited for 2025. So before I get into it, let's talk about 2025 and some of the items that are not going to be on this that let's just go over. Obviously, we know we have a new president coming in, a new administration coming in. And on top of that, behind the Trump administration, the president, there is so much more going on with this administration than probably since I've been alive we've ever seen. The amount of third-party 100 millionaires, billionaires, economists, all these different people that are willing to step up, whether they like Trump, they don't like Trump. What one thing they have in common is they love the USA. They want the American dream. They want people to have a better life. They want to fix stuff. They want to get rid of a $36 trillion deficit that's just killing us. And at the end of the day, they want the United States to win. And to do that, we have to work collectively. And I think, like I said, whether you like Trump or not, who cares? The people that are behind him, DOGE, Vivek, and all these other CEOs that have not been announced, all these people that are coming forward, are going to help this administration to get this country back online is going to be huge. And some of the things for real estate we're looking at that could be really impactful is bringing down regulation, trying to get more housing, make it easier to build, try to get those interest rates down, working on getting inflation down. And by those things, hopefully we'll get the rates down, we'll get more housing, we can start building more. We have a game plan moving forward of how we can fix this broken real estate market. It is broken. Rates were low way too long. If you benefit from it, kudos to you, good for you. If you sit on the sideline and rented, you're feeling the pain. You're like, this sucks. Now I got to go buy a place. It's so much more money. I have to make more money. The payment's more money. The rate's more money. And the cost of the house that you wanted 4 years ago is more money. So it's painful. I get it. I'm in this business of helping people buy and refinance 1 to 4 unit property. So I hear it every day and I see it. So it's crazy. And if you're renting and you're watching this, the average renter's net worth is $10,000. The average homeowner today's net worth, just speaking of the house, is $400,000 smackaroonies. So there's a huge difference. The last time I heard housing was a terrible investment, don't do it, was after the crash. But ever since then, housing's been a phenomenal investment. If you bought a house, if you owned a house, I mean, you might know your parents, depending where you live in the country, they could have bought a house 50, 60 years ago, whatever, grandparents for $100,000. That thing's worth $1 million, $2 million, $5 million, wherever you live. Well, $500,000, it's all relative to where we live, right? So anyways, let's jump into it. We're going to cover the topics I'm going to read from here. We're going to go through when will rates rates come down? What will it take for prices to come down? Will I be able to find a home if I move? Will the housing market pick up next year? And then last but not least, is the market going to crash? Is it? Do you think it is? What do you think? Okay, so let's cover the first topic, the $1 trillion topic, the one that everybody asks me about all the time. Kenny, when are rates going to come down? When are rates going to come down? And I always say, I don't know. But we can look at the data. We can do our best to analyze what we think is going to happen and give you a prediction. Predictions can always be right. They can be wrong. It's very hard to predict things in today's environment because we have a Fed that's definitely more about bringing down inflation. They're not interested in, buying mortgage-backed securities, cutting too fast. They want to make sure they land this plane and not, have a crash or we go back into hyperinflation or something like that. So they're very conscious of what they're doing. Here's a Ralph from Senior Economics at Real.com. The trajectory of rates over the coming months will be largely dependent on 3 factors. Number 1, the performance of the labor market, the outcome of the presidential election, and you notice when this is, see that? The outcome of the presidential election, that, and any possible reemergence of inflationary pressure. While volatility has been the theme of mortgage rates over the past several months, we expect stability to emerge towards the end of November and early into December. We already know who's going to be the new president. We've answered that. We already know the thing that might be worrying anybody is there going to be tariffs and all this stuff. I don't think Trump's coming in here to increase interest rates, to increase inflation, things like that. Trump is trying to come in here, make America great again, but let's make real estate great again. How about that? Let's get those rates down to more favorable terms because affordability is just garbage. It's too hard for people to transact. People are stuck in their homes. They don't feel comfortable with selling them because they're stuck in a low rate. And people are always stuck renting because they feel like they cannot afford to buy the house they want or they're a little bit far off. So as he mentioned in this last little quote that I read, probably the most important thing that we keep hearing and we're listening to from Jerome Powell, the Feds, is we really thought inflation would come down, rates would come down sooner. Well, they're not as focused on inflation, it's still there, as they are on the jobs market. Because if people are employed and they have jobs, they will spend money. They can pay the bills. Things are good. Even though a lot of the jobs report have been utter BS, bologna sandwich, no good, we still have jobs reports. And unfortunately, the jobs market has to get probably a little bit worse so rates can get a little bit better. Where were the jobs at for October? So healthcare, social assistance, 51,300. Government, 40,000. Wholesale trade, 10,000. Construction, 8,000. Information, 1,000. Then you start seeing we lose jobs. Let me just point something out here. We don't know this. I'm making a statement. I'm making an assumption, but a lot of people have been assuming this. When Trump comes in office, they're going to announce a lot of things. A lot of things are going to happen quickly. Then there's the Department of DOGE. If you haven't heard about it, you should look it up. I wrote blogs on it. Go do some research. Elon Musk, Vivek Ramaswamy, if I botched his name there, they're running this, and obviously behind them, there's going to be a plethora of very smart, intelligent people. So the Department of DOGE, what they're going to go to is they're going to try to get rid of fraud, government waste, government spending, over-bloated government. The government just over-bloated, fat, unnecessary, all these departments and this and that. They just got to get rid of the fat. So you could see the government come out and temporarily say, we're going to freeze hiring. We're going to let people go. We're going to have people come back it's mandatory to come back to the office. This labor market has been very propped up and good because of the government hiring and stuff. If you took away the government jobs and healthcare jobs, which apparently have to do a lot with the government jobs, job market would not be as good. The economy would not be as good because the government is pumping money into the economy. So number one, the jobs market, we're going to keep watching, but I will be curious to see when they want to cut spending, if they're going to do a hiring freeze on certain sectors of the government temporarily until they get their heads wrapped around the government spending and all that. So jobs is going to be the number one thing. So if jobs market gets weaker, it's better for interest rates. Inflation is still not quite at the Fed's target. Remember, the Fed's want to be at 2%. If you look at this graph, I'm looking at the graph here. I'll come back and forth and look at you. This is core personal consumption expenditures. So PC, the Feds follow PC. That's why we have this. As you can see, prior to the pandemic, it was hard for the feds to get inflation above 2%. We had lower rates, we had things like that going on. They're still printing money, buying mortgage-backed securities, all that stuff. But we are sitting currently about 2.7%. Not terrible. There's many different inflations to look at, but inflation was high as 9% in some different categories. So now it's come back down in the twos. It's good, but they want to see it at 2%. So they always say the last mile inflation seems to take the longest. Well, we're seeing it drag out, take forever. What will it take for home prices to come down? Builders are not overbuilding, they're catching up. Single family housing is completed in thousands. Well, this is a great chart. You can go back to if you see the green right there, that is when we built the most we ever have. 4 consecutive years of records setting number of building. We had just super loose, way too loose guidelines for lending. We hauled the heartbeat and pen loan. If you had a heartbeat and a pen, you could have got a loan. Literally didn't even need a job, didn't need money, nothing. So it was way too easy to get a loan. That did cause a lot of the damage, and then they overbuilt. Then we had the crash, and then nobody built, and then now we're starting to build back up. So we are short 4 or 5 million units. So we need to get more inventory. You need more inventory. That's going to cause things to come down. If you can't get the inventory, you got to get rates down. Rates down does not mean anything's going to come down. Hopefully rates come down. You will push people that could list their house, that want to move up or something, to have more inventory. One of the things that, is being thrown around our industry is like, well, there's people sitting on vacant houses or houses they're renting or something, and they don't want to sell because they don't want to pay the capital gain. It's like, hey, why don't we incentivize? What if they were to sell their house to a first-time home buyer? Maybe there's minimal to no capital gain tax. So that could be instant equity right now to help fix the problem. So I think you're going to see a lot of different ideas thrown around, and we're going to see what we can and can't accomplish in the government. There's obviously government and bureaucracy and all that crap you got to get through. So that was some of the things floating around. I was trying to get the more housing. Home prices. Home prices are forecasted to rise in 2025. Go figure. Why? Because we still have a supply demand problem. Not everywhere. Places like Florida, Austin, or certain parts of the other country, they have a lot of listings, and that's because they have mass migration, and people are either selling, cashing out, they bought a second home, investment, vacation rental, whatever it is, and they got to move on. And so you're having a lot of listings in certain areas, like I mentioned, Austin and certain parts of Florida. But overall, they're saying the market is going to go up next year is 2.5% change in home year-over-year price. As you can see, the average home price year-over-year it's going up. Median list price year-over-year. I don't know. Does real estate always go up? Not always, but look at this. Home prices expected to dip 1.7 in 2024. We're not at the end of 2024 to get that number, but soon we will be, and soon we will have it. We'll have it on this. I would say 2 more December, January. So 2 more of my monthly meetings on this. 2 more, we'll know how we're looking back. Will I be able to find a home if I move? Great question. More homes are coming to the market. That is true. Look how low inventory was back in 21, 22. It's definitely improving. There were 29.2% more homes actually for sale in a typical day in October compared to the same time in 2023, making the 12th consecutive month of annual inventory growth and the highest count since December of 2019. Woo! Great news. Will the housing market pick up next year? I think so. I think you're going to see it. So we have to wait and see what the administration is going to do, but everybody's predicting more inventory, lower rates, and more active buyers, sellers. So we will wait and see, but I think the market's going to pick up a little bit. Nobody's predicting anything crazy unless rates were to come down. But when rates do pull down, you see a lot more activity of refi, a lot more activity of people buying. So that's happening. More homes are expected to sell in 2025 than this. So if you look at this graph, 6%, 6.5, 6.9, 5.7, 4.8, 4.6, 5.2. So 5.2. So we'll take it. We really want to stay around 5 million, but you can see these other years how we have more and more sales. So our sales are very low, but hopefully we're going to pick back up in 2025. Is the market going to crash? Well, folks, I think my answer is no. I confidently say no. Could the market crash? Sure. We could have a pandemic. We could have a war, or we could have crazy things happen. But outside of some crazy event, there's nothing signaling a market crash. Consumer debt at record high. People did take more mortgages out, so that was higher. In the last years, because when rates were cheap, it made sense. Get a 2.5% 30-year fix, maybe take some cash out, consolidate, refi, buy, whatever. But you can kind of see how everything's shaken out on the consumer debt side. Home value, equity, and debt. Well, homeowners equity is 35 trillion. Real estate value, 48 trillion. Home mortgage liability, 13 trillion. So folks, we have a lot of equity out there. It is insane. Historic equity means there won't be a housing market value, equity, and debts and trillion crash, right? There won't be a crash because you just have too much equity in today's market. The housing total value is 17.9 trillion. Look at this. Holy smokes. Yes, we added more units and we've grown since then and all that. So it'd bring it up. But look, this is just crazy, right? Like, look where we're at, how much equity we have. It's insane. Median sales price of existing homes year over year. It's high, still high, folks. Still up there. For most, it's way too high. I'm here in San Diego shooting this. So our home prices are crazy. I think we're almost at like $1 million, the average price. The existing home sales. There's your chart. Housing inventory. Estimates the housing shortage over time. 1 household, 2 vacant units, 3 housing stock, million. So 2018, let's see here, in Q2, there was 17 million vacant. Q4, 2020, 18.4 million. Q3, 14.9 million vacancies. So less. Interesting, right? This is cool. I like this. This is the millions housing short. I like this. Source Freddie Mac and Housing's research activities based on the Housing Census Bureau current population survey. Housing vacancy survey. Households 121 million. Now there's 132 million. Vacant units 17 million. Now there's 4.9. Housing stock 138 million. 147 million. Crazy. Housing trends month of November. Median list price, new listings, and active listings, time on market. It's a great chart. Just look at it. You can go back, review. If you're a realtor watching this or loan officer, you can share this with clients, your realtor partners, whatever it is. Great information. Regional inventory year over year, pre-pandemic versus pre-pandemic. Housing construction permits. Total permits down 7.7% year over year. Single family down. Multifamily way down. So there's 1.4 million permits, almost a million single family, and then multifamily is 500,000. So not good. Why is this down? Because it doesn't make sense to build. Cost of construction, cost of capital, cost of land. So it's tough out there to build. Here's the prediction. Fannie, MBA, Wells Fargo, all three. I don't put too much weight on these because these guys are always wrong. We'll see what happens. But I thought rates would be in the 5s as we end this year. They should have been. They're not. So we are praying and hoping for 2025 to end the year with much more lower favorable rates. Here's another chart. Mortgage rates, where they are, where we think they're going. Roughly 1 in 5 Republicans is more likely to purchase a home as a result of the election, while a quarter of Democrats are now less likely to purchase a home in the next 12 months. Is this true for you? This is crazy. Adults, Democrats, Independents, Republicans. I don't know if that's true. I think over time, people would just move on, get over this. Men and Gen Z were more positively influenced by the results of the election and their likelihood to buy a home. Interesting graphs, charts to go through here. Male, female, Gen Z, millennials, Gen X, baby boomers, total adults. Interesting. Folks, if you want to chat with me, you want to talk with me, you want to apply, hit the link. Love to connect. Let's say I go over a hot topic or two. Hot topic is, look, if you are watching this video, you're looking to buy or you need to refinance, you definitely need to be paying attention to somebody that's giving you constant data so you know what to move. So if you're not on my email list, get on my email list, reach out to us. We'll get you on there. Also, too, is if you're trying to buy, you're not sure what to do, you haven't got pre-approved, and you're like, I'm not going to buy for 6 months, 8 months, a year. Why would you not have a call with a lender, a bank, a mortgage broker? It would totally help you. So there's 2 hot tips for you. Number 1, it's make sure you're following somebody that's really knowledgeable and good in this business, so you have an update on what is going on with rates in the market. So when you see that trend, when you hear rates are going down, you can reach out to that person or your lender and refi. All right, everybody. Well, hey, thanks for watching. I appreciate you tuning in. Hopefully you guys learned something. Remember, if you have questions, comments, you need some help, please feel free to reach out anytime. You got my contact information with my beautiful family on it. And hey, tis the season. We are in the holiday season. So the next time the monthly webinar comes out, we will be in 2025. And we will probably not have a new president-elect, but we'll be in 2025. We're rocking and rolling. So we'll see what the new year brings. But anyways, I appreciate all of you. Share this with somebody. pass this along. This is really great information. And like I said, is real estate is still having significant challenges with inventory, significant challenges with affordability, significant challenges with regulation and things like that. Hopefully that eases up. And the biggest challenge and the biggest topic on everybody's mind is interest rates need to come down to help us out. So everybody's trying to ask, when is all this stuff going to happen? And we just don't know. But the one thing I think that looking at the data and we can all agree upon is a market crash, a real estate crash is not on the horizon. There's nothing to show that's going to happen. So if you're listening to somebody and they say the market's going to crash or fall off a cliff or something like that, as you can see, there's no support in the data for that whatsoever, nor do I believe that, nor do I think that is going to happen. So anyways, happy holidays to you and your family. Appreciate everybody, and we will talk soon.